Okay, if you have my sefer on top of the page, if you have any sefer. Have any sefer?
Is that part of the set?
My wife's away, okay?
Is that part of the set?
Anything else?
Three tzaddiks, a 5-volume set.
Oh, it is a set. Because I was the so it's like everyone comes in a set.
I had a machshava that Hashem B'Shatayvu Matzlachas, when we finish Kedusha Shabbos, I should reprint just the Kedusha Shabbos as a sefer b'fnei atzma, with some of the horrors that we came, which will make the Kedusha Shabbos about 12 times as big as it's supposed to be. But I thought it's a nice. The Kedusha Shabbos is he wrote it as a sefer separately. Why they put it into the Pri Tzaddik, I'm not sure, but it would be a nice. So we're halfway through. This is Shir 101.
Shabbos 101.
Shabbos 101 today. Thank you. So good. V'chol eisek olam hazeh hu lahagia lo'or zeh shela'achar achet kishiyashuv. This is the symmetry here of this particular print. Last week we learned this. This week we're learning this. This started off v'chol hishtadlus adam ba'olam hazeh lahagia l'shleimus hayira. So last week we talked about kol hishtadlus adam ba'olam hazeh, and as a symmetry, kol esek olam hazeh lagia la'or zeh shel acher achet kishiyashu. Anybody see any difference? What's the difference between kol hishtadlus, his lashon, kol hishtadlus adam ba'olam hazeh, and kol esek olam hazeh? So the answer is, your time's up. Yeah, the what?
To be involved in it is more of maybe a mental thing than a physical thing.
And so which lashon are you explaining?
Asik.
Asik. Maybe. Kol hishtadlus adam olam hazeh. It's the way I read it. Hishtadlus has to do with my effort. Hishtadlus. The human effort. The human effort has to do with acquiring Yiras Shamayim. That's the human effort. Whole Asek Olam Hazeh means the whole business of this world, the whole geschäft over here of this world, is to lagia lo arzeh shel acher achet kishiyashuv, is to come to that special kind of an or that exists only with teshuvah. Meaning it's a mitzvah b'avera. It's an or sheba yidei choshech. It's only. So Asek Olam Hazeh is not about my ishtadlus. It's almost seems to me, with the fear of being too radical, that tshuva is in the world by design. The whole business of this world is coming to tshuva. Means that the whole business of this world includes the investment of a chet. Not that chas v'shalom anybody.
That's the plot.
That's the plot, exactly right. It's not that anybody chas v'shalom can go ahead and do a chet l'chatchila. That's not. There are those krum people in this world that
My
don't.
part is the shtaddus.
Exactly right. My part is ishtadlus. The design, the plot, as you say so nicely. The plot of the world is tshuva. So it means that it puts the chet of Adam HaRishon. Everybody thinks this, by the way. I don't have to feel guilty about thinking this. Everybody thinks that the chet of Adam HaRishon was a good thing. Eitzadas, what's so bad? Eitzadas. He wanted das. We all want das. He created a certain struggle in this world which we don't like, and maybe it would have been something very, very special and something very different, obviously, if we would have gone straight to the Geula. But the Ger Rebbe, the Beis Yisrael, was quoted often as saying, "Se schwer zu sein a Yid, aber se Geschmack." It's difficult, but it's Geschmack. There is a certain Geschmack in the chet of Eitz Hadas, and the Geschmack of the chet of the Eitz Hadas is that the whole world now is faced towards tshuva. And there's a certain or, Reb Tzadok is telling you, that we have with tshuva that you wouldn't have if there wouldn't be tshuva. So Nebuchadnezzar, who never did an Aveira, is not zocha to this or and can't bring Mashiach. Noach ish tzaddik couldn't bring Mashiach. Yitzchak was worried that Yaakov was ish tam. Okay, soon showed that wasn't the case. He couldn't bring Mashiach. Rivka said I could get him to trick also. I could also get him to trick. He's got it in him. So says Reb Tzaddik, "V'chol eisagol levazehu lagia lo'orzeh shalachar achet kishiyashuv v'David HaMelech olav Shalom shu ascholos or HaMashiach." Where does Mashiach come from? If not David HaMelech, and of course we learned even deeper that the whole Mashiach comes from Sodom. Otzasi is David Avdi v'heichon hu b'stoim loit Amoin Moav is coming from a real kupa shel shrotzim. David HaMelech olav Shalom shu ascholos or HaMashiach hu hagever shehekim Oila shel Tshuva. He was the one who taught us, the Gemara says, about Tshuva. The Gemara says, Ilmalei David HaMelech, if it wasn't for David HaMelech, we wouldn't know the power of Tshuva. And it means that when we understand Mashiach, I believe this is so deep and fundamental, that the Geula that we would have had, which would not have been called Geula, but it would have been called world, had Adam HaRishon never been Chote, that would have been a perfect world. A world without Misa, a world without Yetzer Hara, a world without wars. And what we're working for 6,000 years over here already is to be Masak in the chet and come to a place of a world of no Yetzer Hara, no Misa, no wars, the same thing, but the difference is, one is a Gula Koydem Achet and one is a Gula Acher Achet. Which is better? Which is better? So says the Gemara, answers this question. The Gemara answers the question. The Bali Tshuva are higher Madrega. How could it be? How could somebody do the chet to be at a higher Madrega? Because if you're taking the experience of the chet and you're being mahabachet to a schus, you're doing tshuva and you're mahabachet to a schus, you have a certain, mathematically, a person did a lot of averes, all of a sudden has a lot of mitzvahs pop up, mathematically. But at a real level, what it means is that the insight that one can gain from having touched the earth on that level is ain't a doma. It's a very, very deep insight. Look, the insight that we can have in helping other people has much to do with finding, as I said last week, finding that little piece of Ra within ourselves. There's something very deep about a person who was Sheva Yipol Tzaddik V'Kam. Yaakov Vidu had to go through these 7 Nefilos. V'alkeinu Yizkel L'Shleimus HaReach. The Shleimus HaReach we learned, there's different senses, there's sight, there's hearing, touching. Shleimus HaReach, V'yorach es Reach Begodov. Yitzchak was not convinced that he should give a bracha until it was on the nose, until he was Yorach es Reach es Begodov. V'hidei Kereach HaSodeh, and it was like the Reach HaSodeh by Varachos. And then he gave Yaakov a bracha, the Reach. Mashiach, Yeshayahu says, Moirach Vadoyim. He's going to be able to sniff people out. The chush of Reach is the only chush. Your eyes can deceive you. You can hear things wrong. There's certainly miscommunications. Reach is Reach. If it smells spoiled, it is spoiled. Don't eat it. Reach is Reach. Only Mashiach, which went through, like understand this, in other words, the Geula Acher HaGolus is different than the Geula Koydem HaGolus. And it's only there that Yeshayahu says he comes to Mereach Vadoy. And the only place you can feel this a little bit is b'Shabbos. Need to explain. It's only on Shabbos. Here Tzaddik throws us a Rebbe. This is the Pshat in the Medalei Asa in Parak V'Mem Adlikin. What's the Medalei Asa in Parak V'Mem Adlikin? Who remembers? No, Chaim. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of his Ma'ara and he saw Halusaba. He saw a Yid that was carrying Medane Asa, two myrtles. He asked him, why are you carrying those myrtles? Echad keneged nas, echad keneged shamar, echad keneged zohar. It's like, it's probably, so I want to go through the Gemara. It's a Gemara everybody knows. I just want to learn the Gemara together. That's what I want to do, because I think there's so much in this Gemara that it's like, opens up everybody. Let's see, Lamed Gimel, Amud Beis, Shabbos. Okay, the historic background is that we were in the Hadrian decrees. It was also to learn Torah. The government hated the Jews hated the government.
What's new?
There you go. Hadrian. What's new? Most of the Tanoim had a shita of publicly not condemning the government. It was a dangerous thing to condemn the government. Zashtil, don't say anything. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, being who he was, just said it like it is. And constantly, apparently, we have one story in the Gemara, but he was very open. He was very outspoken. Thank you. About the Romans. The pshat is that he knew that Shimon Bar Yochai was the biggest genius in the world, and the tzaddik of the world. But he was also nishemes, and he didn't see the toelos of living in sheker. Why should we live in sheker? Sheker is darkness. It's even a bigger darkness than whatever the Hadrian decrees are, whatever the Romans are. Why should we live in sheker? So he spoke out, and he got into trouble. He was once speaking, and there was a Yehuda ben Gerim there, Gabayu. The story is, Rabbi Yehuda was talking, and he says, Kama noim masayim shel mazu, how nice the Romans are, tiknu shvakim, tiknu gesharim, tiknu marchatzois, geschmack, like we have a whole system over here of bridges. You can get over, what does it mean, bridges? We can get across water, we can get across the land. What they did to Eretz Yisrael is really very beautiful. The Romans, beautiful. It's a positive thing. Marchatzois. Come on. Rabbi Yossi Shosak. Rabbi Yossi heard this, and he was Shosak, like Yisrael. Nana Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai v'Amar Kol Ma shetiknu letiknu l'tzarech atzman. We think they're making this for you. L'tzarech atzman. That is not, it's good, but it's l'tzarech atzman. Tiknu shvakim lo yishvem zoynos merchatzois ladim ematzman yisharim l'til memuchasim. They did all this to get. It was all greed. So let's understand. Yes, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Let's understand the pnimius hadavar. Let's understand the kavanos hadavar. Shimon Bar Yochai, the Baal HaZohar. The pnimius hadavar is the kavanos hadavar was ra. Maybe the Pal Yoitz is good, but everything goes with the kavanah in the world of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. MS, right? Everything goes buzzer kavanah. Halach Yehuda ben Gerim, not a good man. Halach Yehuda ben Gerim v'sipar advarim, for his own gain. He went and he spoke these words out. Nishmul Malchus. And he spoke it to the Malchus, Amar Yehuda, She'ila, Yisala. And they said, Yehuda, you can become a great man. We'll promote him to being chief rabbi. Yossi Sheshasak, Yigla L'Tzipari. Yossi, he's not one of ours, but he's not against us. Let him go to Tzipari, up north. Shimon, said the Romans, Shigina Yehareg. We have to kill him. Azalhu brei choybe midrasha kol yoma. They went and they hid in a base medrash. Kol yoma havas ma'asel visa rifta v'chuza demaya. His wife used to send food into this base medrash and then leave the base medrash. Krachi sent them sandwiches, sent them water. Kitakiv kseirasa, when they were really on the lookout for Shimon Bar Yochai, became, this picture was in every post office here. Kitakiv kseirasa amar le'lebrei. He said to his sons, Nashim daitan kalo aleim. We got to be careful with Nashim. Dilma mitzar aleim agayulan. In other words, the only one who knew that where they were was his wife and their mother. And he said that we can't depend on her. That if she's tortured, she won't tell us her place. I mean, you could say this differently. You could have said we don't want her to be tortured. So it's better if she doesn't know our place. But that's not what he said. So they ran away even to even to the lack of knowledge of his own wife, and Azlut Shaiba Marta, and he hid in the cave. He hid in the cave. You know, if you actually travel, Moshe Zemes, if you actually travel to Pekian, to the cave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, first of all, it's an unbelievable spiritual experience. This is the only one of two, I believe, Mekoymas HaKadoshim, where nobody died there. It's not a kever. Yochai and Shlita goes to visit this every year. The Ma'ara of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
Where is it?
Pekian. You want to know how to get there, you mean? You call Moshe. He go.
Nice Druze village.
What?
A nice, friendly Druze village. Right.
Yeah, it's a nice village. It's Pekian is a village, but the point is that when you drive to Pekian, it's probably a 20-minute drive up a mountain. Like how the world of Shimon Bar Yochai got up there and found this place is like a pella. There you have it, B'diuk, cave and the Charuv, and it's all there. The Mayon Hamayim, it's all there exactly like Shimon Bar Yochai left it. And that's the cave where Eliyahu Navi taught Shimon Bar Yochai the Zayar. So it's you can take a tour instead of going to Kevarim. Kevarim are okay, but you can take a tour of all the Mekoymos in Eretz Yisrael where there was a Gilui Eliyahu. So let's call this the Haber tour. Let's do it, right? Publish all the places where there was a Gilui Eliyahu. Like, okay, here was a Gilui Eliyahu with a story. Here's a Gilui Eliyahu Gishmak, right? Let's go to the Gilui Eliyahu tour. So this is the place. This was a Gilui Eliyahu Makom. You can go there. I don't feel anything when you could feel Gilui Eliyahu. Or Shimon Bar Yochai was there. Just such a unbelievable Daled Amos in this world. Like a Makom, it feels like you're. I'm telling you, you're there. Anyway, so that's where he went. He found this place. On top, it's not even Pekian, it's on top of Pekian. It's higher than Pekian. You have to... So, Choi b'Marta, Yisrachash Nisha Yivalu Charava, miracle happened. This Charuv is there. The Druzis there are complaining that the Sephardim come and for a skula they take off the charuv and the grow. This charuv is like the size of this building and it's growing. It's extremely old. Where the botanists have tested this and they say that this is approximately this carob tree is approximately 2,500 years old. And it's grown, overgrown, and the Arabs have a hakpada not to touch it. They don't need anything from it, and people come and they take, and they get very upset that the people are taking from this group that they want to eat, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai ate. I don't know who's right. So Yisrachash Nise Ivrilu Charufa Ve'ena Demaya V'Avi Yasri V'Avi Mishalchim Menayu V'Avi Yasri Tzavari B'Cholo. They were sitting buried in sand, not to be caught. Kol Yom Garsa V'Ida Tzloil Bashim. Anyways, they were learning with Eliyahu Navi. Also, Eliyahu, one day, the Hadrian died, and the Roman decrees lightened up. Also, Eliyahu became a Pischa de Marta. Eliyahu came, stood on Eliyahu Navi, Gilui Eliyahu, stood on the Pesach of Marta. Amar Man Liodei Bar Yochai de Mis Kesar. Who's going to tell? Nobody knows where he is. Who's going to tell Shimon Bar Yochai that the Kesar died? I mean, it wasn't a chiddush. Eliyahu Navi was there all the time, but it wasn't his job to tell him politics. He wasn't there to read the New York Times to him that the Kesar died. So but he just was going to tell him. So all of a sudden, Eliyahu says, "Okay, I have a new job." Before he does, I was teaching him Zohar every day. Now I'm going to tell him the morning news. Kesar died. Ubatul Gzeirase. Nafku. So they came out. Al Pi Gilui Eliyahu. They came out. Al Pi Gilui Eliyahu. How did they know? They came out Al Pi Gilui Eliyahu. Chazu Inshe de Kakarchi V'Zavi. They saw people were in Eretz Yisrael. They saw people were farming. What a beautiful thing to see people farming. They're planting. If you're planting, it means that there's a future. Right? It's not like somebody was just telling me about this almost 100-year-old person who went to the doctor. And the doctor said, he asked the doctor, "How am I doing?" He said, "Just don't buy green bananas." Just live for the day. They're planting. That's a beautiful thing that they're planting the future. Kakarbi Missouri. Amar, what was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's reaction to this? What are they doing? Don't they understand the world? The world is so deep. The world is so ruchani. What are they getting involved with dirt and earth and plants and should be sitting and learning. They should be. It's all ruchnius. What are they? They don't get it. They don't get it because why don't they get it? Because they weren't in the cave for 12 years like I was. They're not getting the depth of this world, the Kabbalah of this world. So we meet people like this. Every place they look, it turns into fire, meaning they're destroying everything. This is no good, that's no good, this is no good. Yotzis a baskol, not Elio. Yotzis a baskol came, Amr lahem, and said to them, Lahachar v'lama yitzasim. This is why you came out of the cave, to be machrev, let's say, in our lashon, to be mevatel, the world, the deeds of the simple Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, that are planting and that they're growing things and that they're building Eretz Yisrael. They're making a life for themselves after the Hadrian decrees. Lahachriv, I love it. It was the Baskol yelled at them. Chizru lamar aschem, back into the cave. I feel like saying this all the time. Chizru lamar aschem, back into the cave. They went back into the cave. Think about the story. Voluntarily, okay, we're better off in the cave. There's no Romans, no Adrian, no anything. Let's go back into the cave. They went back into the same situation. Isver, they stayed there, Trace the Yarchashata. That was their sentence. They were there for 12 months. Why 12 months? Amri, they said, Mishpat Rishayim began and Shneim Esrei Chodesh. The longest you have to stay in Gehenna is 12 months, so we stayed there for 12 months. That's the Baskol Vamra Tzumi Maraschem. The Baskol comes and says, go out of your cave. In fact, they went out. Kol Hechadav Machi Rabbi Lazar, the son was Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon. Avamasi Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Lazar now became a dichotomy. Rabbi Lazar was knocking everybody still. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Avamasi, he was saying, no, it's nice, he got it. It's enough for the world should be me and you. Mystery. What does he mean by that? Bahadi, and here's our story. Bahadi Panya de Malashabsa, it was Panya de Malashabsa, that means Benashmoshes of Shabbos. Chaza hu Sava, they saw hu Sava. Sava, a Zaydik. Davinaka Tremedane Asa, Tzadok's Medane Asa, who was carrying 2 myrtles. V'roit Bein Hashmoshes, and he was running Bein Hashmoshes. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai stopped him. He's running with these myrtles, Bein Hash, an old man. Amar lei Hani Lamalach, what's with the myrtles? What's up with the myrtles? It's funny that he would stop a guy running with myrtles. Amar lahu l'chloit Shabbos. Chloit Shabbos. Shabbos, Tizkalu L'chad. Yes. I think the Marsha says that he assumed that he was making it for Havdalah. Havdalah, he wanted to say, you don't need, why do you need 2? Shimon Bar Yochai was Medayik. He was Medayik because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu was putting something in front of his eyes and showing him something, it must be Epis Likta. And who's he looking at? A simple person. He didn't bump into Rabbi Yehuda Nasi or something. He bumped into this Ahu Saba. Tizkalu b'chad. So he says no. So the Pasha de Yid, chad keneged zocher, b'chad keneged shamar. Amalei levrei, Shimon Bar Yochai said to his son, Chazi, kama chavivin mitzvah Yisrael Yisrael. Look how beautiful Klal Yisrael is. Pasha de Yid, he's running. This is a different attitude than what it was a year before. There's a pella in this Gemara, no? Like, how did he get so, sharp-eyed, called Malkim Shinasaneina Biadris Nisra? How did he get like that? Because by being in the cave for 12 years. So how did he get a tikkun by going in for another year? It's not like the cave was making him more tolerant. It's not like the cave was opening up his heart to the people and look at the beauty of the simple actions of the simple Jew in Eretz Yisrael. I mean, how does it work to get like this after 12 years, and then go in for another year and become the opposite? It's mamash. It's a riddle. Like how did this happen?
If you heard a basketball, you would be doing tshuva also.
Okay, why in the cave? The shulchan.
He was told to go in the cave.
Right. No, but why?
That's where it started. That's he had to undo something that he got from the cave.
Wow. Like it had something to do with the cave. I'll tell you a deal that the Lamdonim make in the Gemara. That the first time he went in here, Eitzvei Tracer Shnei B'Marta. He sat for 12 years in the Ma'ara. 12 years. Eitzvei, they sat there, Tracer Shnei B'Marta. And here, Isivu, they sat there, Tracer Yarcha Shata. 12 months. How much is 12 months? Here.
Yeah.
So he said 12 years, didn't talk about how many months. It said 12 years before, it said 1 year now. It's a deal. It might be meaningless, but it's just so interesting that Tracer Yarche Shata specifically means 12, you see, because the sun, the year is a solar cheshbon. The month, our month, is a lunar cheshbon. Trace our yarche, 12 moons. He sat there for 12 moons. First time he sat there for 12 suns. Now he sat there for 12 moons. The difference between a sun year and a moon year is how much?
11 days, 12.
10 days. Right, that's it. Shana, 355. Shana is 355. So it's between 10 and 13 days, depending on. Okay, what's the nakuda over here? I'll just tell you Kabbalah 101, which the standard, say for Yitzirah, that the sun and the moon are two different kochos completely. We know that the sun is a noisein and the moon is the makabel. There's two different ones. The sun is the zachar, and the moon is the nekeva. So in basic, it doesn't mean zachar and nekeva necessarily male and female, as we understand that male and female, men and women, is just one manifestation of zachrus and akvus in the bria. But the whole bria is about zachar and nekeva.
Giving and receiving. Giving and receiving.
Giving and receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the sun and the moon. It was this week's parsha. What did Yosef say? What was the dream? Hashemesh v'ayereach mishtachavim li. Hashemesh v'ayereach mishtachavim li. The Shemesh is who? Here's Rashi. Yaakov. And the Yereach? Rashi is the word. Yereach was the cave. It was a nevuah with a bit of a tzotz. Okay. Shemesh v'ayereach, the noisein and the makabel, the zachar and the nekeva. Shemesh v'ayereach mishtach ben. The kochos of zachar have their milos. The kochos of nekeva has their milos in the bria. By the way, there are men that have a lot of kochos on nekeva, and there's women that have a lot of kochos of zachar. It's not. And before the Nasira and Gan Eden, it was all one thing anyway, like Zachar and Nekeva. It was divided up into something of Zachar and Nekeva. Shemesh v'Yareach. And this is the, we won't go into it right now, but this is the whole side of the machlokes. The Gemara tells us the machlokes between the Shemesh and the Yareach. Ein shtei malachim mishtamshim b'keser. Keser echad. Keser is the combination of Zachar and Nekeva. Okay, that's all the Kabbalah I know, so that's what I'm going to tell you. Keser is a combination of Zachar and Nekeva. Then it starts to, in the spheros of Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, so some are Zachar and some are Nekeva. Bina is nekeva. Chachma is nekeva. Chesed, Gvura, etc. Interesting, Gvura is nekeva. It's interesting. It just shows you how we don't think about this correctly. We always think of woman as being the softer one, and the man being the harsher. It's not honest. Kerachim ov al bonim, kein terachim Hashem aleinu. Not a kerachim ov al bonim. The fact of the matter is that it's the mothers that are always, intolerant, lacking tolerance of the kids. The father, it's okay.
Because they're not with them all day. Because they're not with them all day.
Okay. Okay. Kach goes our Hashem. Kach goes our Hashem. Okay. What do I say over here? That there's a difference between the first time that Shimon Bar Yochai went into the Ma'ara and the second time he went into the Ma'ara. First time he went into the Ma'ara, Shamati from the Mishem the Ramchal, from one of his Talmidim. The first time he went into the Ma'ara, it was in the Bechina. What became very strong with him was the Shemesh, was the Midas HaZachar. Second time he went into the Ma'ara, what became stronger with him was the Midas HaNekeva. So he went back in with a different Bechina, and a different Bechina, which is Agav in the world of Kabbalah, that's the 12 months of Gehenna. Bring out a little Nekeva on us. Mekabel.
I was just thinking the Shlosh Esrei Midot Hashem. The last one is Naki.
Is
Naki. Nekeva. It's the last year. 13 years. Okay.
13 years. The 13th.
Right.
Benake.
Okay.
Let's clean up. Let's clean up. So what about a svara like this, Rabbi said? That the first time Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the Ma'ara, it was with a huge amount of Zachar. And the second time he came out of the Ma'ara, there was an addition of Nekeva. When you look at the somebody planting the earth, so what are you looking at? Midas the earth is the makabel, the ultimate makabel, like the moon. You put the zera in the earth, and the earth does its job. It's like mamish, like the biological model. The earth is the nekeva, and the seed is the zachar. When you look at what is, let's just bring this down to earth, no pun intended. When you look at our job, kol esek olam hazeh. Kol esek olam hazeh. When you're looking at what's going on in this world, what's the pshat? It's all about, Malchus is all about taking the world as we know it and being mekadosh it. Doing something with the world, tikkun olam. Doing something with the world and making it Malchus Hashem. It's not the Shemesh, it's a Bechina of Yareach. So when he was strictly Zachar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, his limud was strictly Zachar, couldn't relate to any of what anybody's doing in Eretz Yisrael here. They're planting, they're plowing, What about Chaye Olam, when he's dealing with Chaye Shah? It was ethereal. To the actual Malchus, he couldn't be bothered. I'm not saying anything with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I'm just saying what the Baskel said. L'hachriv olam. It's not so you're coming to destroy the world. There's a world here. It has a purpose. Kol eisek olam hazeh. Kol eisek olam hazeh is la'gia l'zeh. The whole point of olam hazeh is lahachrish. In Brachas, the Gemara says that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was machrish, and he was mazareh afterwards. He became part of this. What?
Ein halacha k'moisa.
Ein halacha k'moisa. There you go, like Rameir. Ein halacha k'moisa. So he couldn't relate to it, b'chlal. Couldn't relate to what was going on over here. We've all had this kind of an experience. Like you can imagine, like if you do well on Yom Kippur and you're davening the whole time with your kittel and you're fasting and you're asking everybody mechila and you say ne'ilah and then you go outside for kiddush levana and you say something. What'd you take my siddur for? What are you being petty? How could you? You can't even tolerate. The mind can't tolerate two people arguing. It's a problem. Sometimes like if your wife can't make it to shul and doesn't go through the whole kind of like spiritual chavaya that the male did, or the other way, but that's usually the way it is. It's almost like, you come back into reality, and why are you late? And let's get the food on the table, and you're a himmelmensch. What's going on? There's a clash. This is the clash of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the farmers. So he goes in and he's makabel in Daika Tresa Yarche Shata. He goes through 12 moons, 12 lessons in Nukva, and then he comes out again and he sees a Husaba. He says a Saba means a Pasha Yid, an old Yid. Derech Yisrael Saba. This is not a Talmud Chacham who even knows what he's doing so much. Why are you carrying myrtles around? That's an interesting question. Why would he? He didn't yell at him. He didn't admonish him. He didn't say, "Well, you're running around Erev Shabbos with myrtles." Like, why aren't you saying Shir Hashirim now? This is the right thing to be saying, Shir Hashirim. Sees the two myrtles. What is it? The fact that he questions it. Maybe there's something to this. And sure enough, what does he get? The astonishing response. Echa keneged Zachar, ve'echa keneged Shomer. Whoa. What? What's Zachar v'Shamar? Zachar Shomer, Zachar Nekeva. Pashat. It's clear. L'kol alma. Not Zachar Lashon Zachar, but Zachar is the what?
Is the essay he's doing.
He's doing the essay. Shomer is Shmir Minachet. Echa keneged Zachar, ve'echa keneged Shomer. And he says, "Wow, what a beautiful thing." Let's just tell you a horror. What does Ben Hashmashas mean? What does the word mean? What does the word mean, Ben Hashmashas? Isn't it a strange word? Twilight, so say twilight. What is Ben Hashmashas? Between which two suns is he running? What is Ben Hashmashas? Every day we have Ben Hashmashas. What does it mean?
The sun and the moon.
The sun and the moon. Shem Shiharech. That's the Pashat Pshat. Ben Hashmashas is between the sun and the moon. Where the sun, because since that Gemara tells us that the moon said, well, why shouldn't I be the Moishel? Okay, so Hu Moishel Bayayim, Hu Moishel Balayla. Kodesh Baruch Hu said Hu Moishel Bayayim, Hu Moishel Balayla. Laila is his man Nukva. Yom is his man Duchra. Bein Hashmashas. He sees him running Bein Hashmashas. It's so beautiful. He's negotiating the sun and the moon, and he has two myrtles in his hand. Echad keneged Zachar, echad keneged Shomer. You know what he's holding? He's holding Bein Hashmashas. He's holding Zachar v'Shamar in his hand. He's understanding Shabbos. The Shabbos is Shamar v'Zachar b'dibur echad. Shamar v'Zachar b'dibur echad. Zalvar says the Gemara, this is a thing, Shein, Adam, Yochol, Lamra, a person can't pronounce such a thing, a human being can't say Zachar v'Shamar at one time, Hashem can say Zachar v'Shamar at one time. It's like before the Nasira of Adam HaRishon, it was Zachar, Shamar v'Zachar b'dibur echad, that's what was going on. Split apart into Zachar v'Shamar in a way that we can read it all, it's all the way in Shmois, it's all the way in Devar. There's a split between them. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that last 12 those moon months, was Kneged, the Nasira of Adam HaRishon, where you became Adam and Chava, Zachar and Nekeva. Two myrtles, like so. What had nothing to do with Havdalah? Havdalah was Hidah. Why do you have two? Well, you have one. Havdalah is. The besamim of Havdalah is the difference between yes having a neshama yisera, not having a neshama yisera. This is in the neshama yisera gufa. The neshama yisera gufa, there's two dinim. There's a din of Zachar, there's a din of Nekeva. There's a din of Zachar, there's a din of Shamar. Amar lahu l'chvayt Shabbos. Tiske l'cha b'chad. Why can't you have one? No one. Chad keneged Zachar, b'chad keneged Shamar. Amrle Lebre, so he said to his son Chazi, take a look. I mentioned here last week that this is a lashon of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The lashon of the Gemara is Toshma. Listen, lashon of the Zohar is Tochazi. Come see. It's a different. Chazi. What you're seeing here is mamish the world the way it's supposed to be. What you're seeing here is a good thing. You have a whole new world. I'm not lahachriv ilami anymore. Lahachriv ilami means you're taking everything that's done in this world, all of the hard work that's done in this world, it's all gewaldic. If you see somebody planting a plant or programming a computer or doing anything which is making this world, the gashmius of this world, into a malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it's through honesty or whether it's just about supporting your family or whether it's Harbatzis Torah, but it's all about Tikkun Olam. This is the malchus of Hashem that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted, so we'll say. And there's a Zachar, there's a Shabar, so bin Hashamayim. Probably, by the way, this guy was running around the first time he came out of the cave too. He was a Sabo. He wasn't invented in these 12 months. He was probably running around too, but he didn't even see it. Here he chapped a whole new, instead of turning everything into fire, he chapped a whole new thing. Look what a Pashut Sabo, we don't even know his name. Look how he's understanding that the world has to be worked. Chazi, he said to his son, Kama chavivin mitzvahs al Yisrael. And Yasim Datayu, and they all became calm. They all became calm. They made peace with the world as we know it. I think that's the sod. I think this is the sod of this Gemara. This is the gather, by the way, of it's not about the Aveira per se. It's about touching the earth. It's about touching the earth. It's about receiving not just the insight that one can get from an Aveira, but by really, biting the dust, as it was. They were able to now grow something. They absorbed. The Baal Tshuva absorbs the Bechina of Nekeva into his life. And it's not all Zachar. The tzaddik is all Zachar. The tzaddik that's chote and goes into this world and then comes back is taking a seed and planting it. So how can you compare the seed before it's planted to the plant that sprouts from the seed after it hits the earth? The Makom Shabali Tshuva Oimdim Ein Tzadikim Gemor Mechon Lamisham. How can you compare the Geula that would have been Koidem Achet to the Geula that's going to be Acher Achet? It's incomparable. So this is Rabbi Shimon Bar. How can you compare Zachar alone or Nekeva, which also look good alone, but Shabar v'Zachar v'Dibur Echad? If we could put the whole thing together, Shabar v'Zachar v'Dibur Echad, Yasvid Atayu is the Geula. Yishuv Hadas. Yishuv Hadas. Das. Chachma, Bina, Das. Yashuv Atayu. The Das was there. That's a complete Tiferes. Das is the Bechida of Tiferes. It's complete coming together. Except it's in the Keser. That's the whole point. It's in the Keser.
So how do we learn Arbe Asif and Shimon Yochai also be Adam? He had the mile of Baal Tshuva?
Afterwards.
So that's why it's low Alpha B'Yadam, because they were just saying more.
Harbe Asuk Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, when he was strictly, they were taking the complete gather of Gashmi of Zachar, Lo Elsa B'Yadam, being a single without having bringing it down to earth, without grounding it. It can't be. Lo Elsa B'Yadam. It's the shot.
Shouldn't at 12 years of being within the gather of the sun, that the Zachar is more of a Rachamim. That's where Chesed comes from. That's where Ahava comes. So you should come out being more.
But it's all no-saying. You're right. Chesed is all.
So, but why is he judging? Like Midas, it seems like he's coming out with Midas Adin, which is Nekeva. There's something very beautiful about somebody who's always giving, and there's something very obnoxious about somebody who's always giving and never able to take. Because there's not a shleimus in it. If a person can only be a giver without ever taking, but there's not a give and take, a labashal, you can't have a marriage like that. You have a marriage where I'm giving, the other one's taking, can't be. It has to be give and take. So he 12 years of chesed, but 1 year of learning nekeva also. So it was in the University of Nukva for that last year. Meaning, all of the zachar that I have, all the chesed that I can have, there's like the scientists say, like a zachar is capable of having something like 4,000 children in a lifetime, the average of zachar. And a gamer can have 10, 11, 12, how many, but they're real people. This is a real people. So like with all of the zachar, it's all very nice, but there's no nekeva there to make it into a real tikkun. Okay, thank you.